home tour podcast, guys. Today is a special one. I adore our special guest. Because of her, I was able to basically 10x my business because of her coaching style. And so, before we get kicked off, this one is all about how coaching fuels your business growth with Julie Mobley of Berkshire Hathaway Home Services. But first, I'm Tyler Willis Media. Peyton, what you got going on over there today?
Yeah, hey guys, it's Peyton with Peyton Peoples and Company, Keller Williams Realty Atlanta Partners, and we are so excited that Julie is with us today. Again, this is a great way for us to showcase that collaboration across brokerages. You know,
Amen.
we're all here to help further each other, right? So as long as we all want to sit at tables with people who are better than us. So when Tyler was like, "Look, Julie's got some killer stuff to share," I was like, sign her up. Let's go.
Sign her up.
So
Yep.
we are excited to have you. So introduce yourself.
So, Julie Mobley here. I'm the Senior Vice President and Managing Broker with Berkshire Hathaway Home Services, Georgia Properties. I do have an office in Fayetteville, McDonough, and Macon.
Whoo, three of them.
I know, right? Just all the way.
Yeah,
and
Georgia.
Love what I do. Previous to real estate, I was in insurance. And previous to that, I worked for the Estee Lauder Corporation for about 12 years and traveled about 5 states. So, love what I do.
Awesome. Well, we're going to go ahead and kick it off with the first question. Why real estate? So you started in insurance. So what was
I
the
did.
transition there? What did that look like?
That's a great question. So, the two kind of overlap. They don't kind of overlap, they do overlap. And so I had lots and lots of realtor friends. I had been in that community for, 16, 17 years. And if you know anything about insurance, it's become extremely litigious over the last 5 to 10 years. And in doing so, it also became very digital. So that one-on-one time that I used to get sitting across a table or across a desk from a family, I knew people previously from their marriage to the first, the birth of their first child, to their pets, to where they lived, right? And I insured all of that and guaranteed some safety and security there. And I lost that. So there was 90% of my business was all online. You didn't get a lot of face-to-face interaction. And so those relationships, the part about my job that I loved was kind of dissipating. And I wanted to find a way to bring it back. There were some additional changes within our company that I worked for. And I think God talks to you and you just have to listen. And it was that, hey, you've wanted to do this, do it. So I made a decision, and 21 days later, I was a licensed real estate agent and making a move. And thankfully, I'm blessed with a very supportive husband and family because my children did not like me during those 21 days at all.
I can attest, yes.
And that's, and what I found when I did make the switch was I came with this completely different bit of real estate knowledge that I otherwise wouldn't have had it not been for insurance.
Mm-hmm.
And, I looked at roofs a little differently. I looked at siding a little differently. I priced things based on a reconstructive value and then added in a market value. So it just brought different skills that I was able to utilize.
That's genius. So you were able to use a lot of what you were doing to help build policies to like start your business and not be like, I don't know what I'm doing.
Exactly. And it took a minute. When I started in the business, I started with a huge team. I don't ever want to go back to that personally, but I would never change it. It was like drinking water from a fire hydrant. It was do or die. You figure it out. And it forces you to stretch and do things that maybe you otherwise wouldn't do. And it also forces you to employ good strategies and day-to-day business. Otherwise, you're going to fail.
Mm-hmm.
And it, again, was the biggest blessing. I don't ever want to do it again. But I learned, and it was really invaluable.
So about how many years have you been in real estate?
This side of it, about 8 years, going on 9, I guess. And 16 in the previous. And you don't think they overlap, but they really, really
absolutely do. Yeah.
So 16 on top of that.
Yeah.
So
So
I
then
bet
how long after, sorry, I'm going to
go,
jump in.
go.
So how long after you got your license did you decide to become a broker?
3 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
What was that transition like for you?
Decided to take the test
Mhm.
to do that. And I really have to give credit to my business partner, Amy Gant, who is the managing broker of our Peachtree City location. And she saw something in me that I don't know that I saw in myself,
Mm.
and said, you would be really good at this. And I had managed 5 states with a cosmetic corporation. I had managed, at 1.4 agents in my insurance career. So the managing part and managing people was there.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
And then it was just being able to articulate it into our business. And I learned contracts forwards and backwards. And if you do that, you can really do just about anything and really come into it with a solutions mind and how to grow, how to be better tomorrow than we were today.
Love it.
Mhm.
So, so 3 years after you've taken your test, that's whenever you knew that you wanted to become a broker. And then, what has it been, like 4-ish years now that you've been at the
So
Fayetteville?
3 on the broker side. I was the associate broker for about 2.5 years prior to that. And that afforded me to see a lot of different managing broker styles and
Right.
how they do things and what works here and how to overcome this. And again, blessings, you don't know them sometimes, right? And at that time, I onboarded agents all over, the outside the perimeter, and got to learn different people. How do they learn best? What's successful? What's not? What's really important? And kind of what's not really important.
Yeah.
I think personally to have a good bio and a good elevator pitch is right on up there at the top. And sometimes that's overlooked. But that came about through trial and error of, okay, how do you introduce yourself? Talk to me.
Mhm.
Yeah.
How do you answer a phone? What do you say? Things like that. And what's that one unique quality that you have that
Mhm.
I don't have? And how can we really magnify that to show why you, as someone's realtor, would be really beneficial versus maybe why Tyler would be great or I would be great?
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
Because everybody has that quality. And the reality is, there's enough business out there. Come into it with a mindset of abundance,
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
and you too shall succeed. It's just figuring out what is that thing that you have that someone else maybe doesn't.
Oh,
Mhm.
I love it. So I got to know you pretty much as you started as broker at Fayetteville. Oh wow, I didn't realize that.
Mhm.
That's awesome. So that's kind of where I
Yep.
want to transition this into. So I got to know Julie at the start whenever I went from teaching full time and doing this on the side to going full time. And I'll never forget Frida Everett from Frida First. I'm going to give you a shout out right here. She
Yep.
called me and
Mm-hmm.
she said, "Hey, we're starting this new thing. We don't really know what it's called. Like it's like a morning kind of a meeting that we're all doing, and I think you would be good at it. Here's an email address. Contact her." And I was like, I don't even know who this person is. So I was like, I don't know these people. So I emailed Julie and I was like, hey, I'm starting up full time. I'm on the photography side. I work with several of your agents. And she was like, yeah, here's the link. Join in. And I was like, this is so scary. I'm not an agent. These people aren't going to like me. And she was like, it doesn't matter. I invited you. I was like, okay, cool. And so what was it? Those beginning days, we had like a core of like probably 6 to 10 that were on every day. And then that
Yep.
grew to like at one point I remember logging on after about a year and there was like 40 people. And so
Yeah.
like
So
kind of
today,
walk
I think we had 52 today.
oh
Yeah.
my gosh. So kind of walk us through like what was your thought to go, I want to start something on a daily but not have to meet in person. Like what did that look like and how did you get it started?
Sure. So Huddle in May was turned 5, believe it or not. And
Wild.
originally it started as, remember, I was that associate. I onboarded everybody. And, Peyton, you have a team. Do you ever find that you're answering the same question 10 times a day
Oh yeah,
to 10
absolutely.
different people?
Yeah.
So it was that time of, how can I become a little bit more efficient? How can I give face time to people every single day? Because again, I was taking people from way over here to way over here that's a 2-hour drive span, but how can I give everybody FaceTime? And so that's how it started. And so sometimes I'd have 3 people, sometimes it'd be 5, but it was really answering questions again that maybe I had heard the day before. And then it sort of evolved into, okay, let me get an agenda and let me invite people within my office. And what we found was it's such a safe space to collaborate and hear what's going on every single day in the business. So it's interesting. One of my agents was the chairman of the forms committee last year, and he made a statement not too long ago. And he said, guys, everybody on Huddle, you're about 2 months ahead of everybody else because we're already talking about like, somebody over here heard it. Somebody over here heard it. I've got people in Ackworth all the way down to Savannah and everything in between. So what's happening across the state? What's the market doing? And what a blessing for me as a broker. Like, wow.
Yeah.
And so it has just grown. It used to be just mine. Then it opened up to the company. So now anybody in the company can join. I send out an agenda every Sunday that's got kind of what I've been hearing the week before. And sometimes it's just videos that I've stolen off of YouTube from Jason Pantana to, Ninja to like anything in between. I think I have Ryan Serhant this week and just pulling little nuggets of things. What can we do to overcome what it is that I heard the week before? And if you watch the agents on there, much like you, Tyler, they've grown exponentially. So we start in about October doing planning for the next year. We'll do a mid-year, which we did June, just to sort of recap, where are you? Where do you need to be? What's working? What's not working? But it's this safe space. So if you've been licensed 2 minutes or 220 years, it doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
Just come and let's be better tomorrow. Why are you laughing?
Because the fact that you said 2 minutes and 220 years, it just got me. It just got
But we
me.
have people, I have people on there who've been licensed over 40 years. And
Yeah.
then I've got people who literally got their license last week.
Right.
Yep. I
So,
love it.
and the sponge of the new people
new
to hear
one.
experience,
Mhm.
but even the experienced ones to hear what the new people are seeing and hearing and doing. That's where the genius happens.
Right.
That's where the magic just comes alive.
I love
Because we're like, oh, wait a minute. Y'all do this? Well, what did you say? And, with everything going on right now, we've been able to role play through, forms changes, which goodness gracious. And how do you speak commission talk or compensation talk or fee talk, or what verbiage do you use that's good? So, yes, if you can't tell, that's what I get really passionate about. I love it. I do.
Yeah. Well, that kind of level of collaboration means a lot for agents, no matter, 2 minutes or what did we say, 222 years?
Yeah.
But how do you see that because not everyone approaches their business with an abundance mindset or with
Absolutely.
a, growth mindset. Across the board, there's always going to be a bad apple or, somebody. So when you're working with your agents or in that type of setting and you have a Debbie Downer or something like that, how do you switch that? How do you, get that person or, those people out of that type of mindset? Like, what are some tactics that work well that you see?
We send secret text messages to each other going, did you hear what they just said?
Shut up.
They do. But truthfully, most of the time when you've got negative Nellies or Debbie Downers in your words, it's coming from a place of fear.
Right.
Almost 100% of the time. And if you can dig in and go, what's happening here?
Mm-hmm.
And you can sort of assess it. So sometimes I just talk it back. And Tyler, you've made fun of me for doing that. I'm just like, okay, tell me more. I don't think I understand. Walk me through that. And most of the time, if you can get people to talk through it on Huddle in particular, other people will chime in to offer solutions. But our job, we should have solutions provider. That's what needs to be on our name tags.
Yeah.
So how can we overcome? My job is no different, right? I just need to figure out where's the roadblock? Where are we getting stuck? And how can we work around it? And most of the time, there's always going to be the one that, I mean, let's just be real. We've all been there, right?
Right.
We all have days when I'm like, I am stuck in the gutter. I cannot get it. Not that kind of gutter, but you know what I mean.
Yes.
Where you're just, and you can't get out of your own way. And that's okay. Sometimes you just need to be allowed that space to get over it and then circle back. When people are missing from huddle for a period of time or either not in the office, we reach out. It might be a text, it might be a phone call, it might be a note card. It depends on the person. But for me, I got to know you. I got to know something about you. How can I effectively manage you if I don't know anything about you? That's impossible, because what makes you tick? And if I know that, then we can usually determine where the fear is coming from, and then we can push through. And that's where great things happen, where you just don't even allow your mind to imagine. That's where the bigness is like, oh, yeah,
I'm going to tell a huddle story. Here we go. So, Julie used to work down in like the basement in the office, and then behind her was a cork board or a whiteboard, something like that. And when a couple of weeks prior, she was like, "Hey, on this date, I'm going to ask you what your Q4 goals are," and something like that. And then she, one by one, there was like, I think there was 7 or 8 of us in this group, and so behind her, every single day was our goals for everybody on huddle, and so we saw it every single day right behind her. And so as goals were checked off, she would literally check mark next to goals. And so what started that was we all read the book 12-Week Year together. And then
That's a great book.
The Bible, right?
Yeah.
It's fantastic.
I'm not.
Yeah. And so
the business Bible. Don't get
Yes.
Don't come at me.
She was said, "Hey, we're going to read this book," and then she was like, "We're going to do it over 4 or 5 weeks," and then right after that, everybody's doing Ninja. And so we put them both together to figure out how to get ready for, I think it was 2022 that we were trying to prepare for. And so that's whenever she was like, "Okay, we're going to use 12-week year with ninja mindset goals." And I was like, this
That's
is
a powerful combination.
Right?
Yes. And so I'll never forget, she was like, "You've got to learn how to make a Q1, Q2, Q3, Q4 goal. And what are you going to do? Like, what are your 3 achievements if you hit goal 1, goal 2, goal 3? Like, what are you going to do?" And again, Frida, huge shout out. Frida goes, "I'm putting fun as my number 1 goal." And so she straight up said, "If I'm not having fun, I'm not going to make my goal." And so she made it a purpose in her business to have fun every single quarter whenever she hit a goal. And I thought that was just powerful.
So, and in that is a couple of things that I employ just for coaching in general. If you don't have a plan, you're only working at like 50% potential. You got to have a plan. And then you've got to realize that plan. If you make a plan January 1, that's 365 days to get to the end of the year. That's a long time. And we all, as realtors, we got a little bit of ADD. We're not going to make it.
No.
It's just not. We're just not.
No.
So let's break it down into bite-sized pieces. Reward yourself. So for some people, it's a pair of really nice shoes or a great handbag or a cruise or, paying off debt. Putting this amount of money in your college kids fund, whatever that looks like to you. What gives you gratification? Because what works for you may not work for me. And look at it and be very specific, but don't give me 25 items because that too will never happen.
Correct.
Keep it like 5.
Yep.
3 would be gold mine. But if you got to go to 5, go to 5. And then tell me how you're going to do it. And then I need to link all of them together. So what do they do for each other? Because remember, we're moving forward. And if you don't have that written out, it's never going to happen. And the second part to that, and what we've really learned in the last 2 years, is you got to attach a budget to it and really work the budget. And if you don't, you're going to spend way amount of money and earn nothing in return.
Right.
But the fun part is when you have those goals and you see the little check marks and you're the person who's got check, 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 and you're killing it.
Right.
That's when it's like, let's go.
Right. And then when your P&L and your budget match up and, you're not feeling like,
stress.
I hit my goals, but my finances are a total disaster. Like,
correct.
Making sure those things work together is where you're like, okay, now I can go on vacation and actually have fun, like what Frida was saying, and not feel guilty about it.
And then really, as especially in our business as 1099 employees, oftentimes no one teaches you what budgeting looks like.
Right.
They don't teach you the stink about taxes. Nobody tells you that. But you got to know how to do it. Have 3 accounts, whatever works for you. But those are things we talk about so that when you've put in this hard work and this dedication, you get to reap all the benefits. And do we really go on vacation? Really?
That's not a thing. Not in our
No,
industry.
No.
no. But can you go and block out 2 hours on a Saturday where you really can put the phone away if you've prepped properly and enjoy whatever that looks like for you? 100%.
Yep.
And you'll come out of it being a much, much, much better realtor, photographer, whatever that means.
Mm-hmm.
I think Peyton does that beautifully because she has do not disturb turned on most times during the daytime to like time blocks. So like she just really gets to focus in on her timing. So,
but did you have to learn to do that?
Oh yes, absolutely. Yeah. Like, you know, it's not something like I'm pretty strong with boundaries in general. You know, kids, family, everybody gets a boundary. But when it comes to your paycheck, especially as a new agent, when you feel desperate for business and you feel like, you know, I have to answer my phone because what if I don't? And then everything falls apart. And like, it's an easy chaos to fall into.
so
But after you do that and you live through that a couple of times, the exhaustion you feel on the other side is not worth the paycheck. I would have rather been poor sometimes than have gotten to the closing table in some instances. So I learned very quickly what takes some other people a longer time to learn, but I learned quickly I am going to teach people how to treat me. And Tyler makes fun of me, but like the second that I pull into to work, my phone knows that I'm at work and goes on do not disturb. A lot of people are like, oh, well, that's my time to answer the phone. And I'm like, you're going to leave me alone. I will get to you when I get to you.
Time, right? It's not like you don't ever return phone calls clearly, or you wouldn't be successful.
Right.
So you learn when to do that. You know, we joke, mine cuts off at 8 p.m. and it starts back up at 8 a.m. Does that mean I won't take phone calls in between there? No. But I do very much try to protect that for my family.
Yes.
Because if you don't, what's the purpose of doing everything all day, every day?
Right. Bingo. And I do think that that's a very hard lesson for especially newer agents to learn. I think you do have to go through and work with some people who really test you before you really understand the importance of having those boundaries. But I think mindset and coaching and all of that really plays a huge part into learning how important that is for the growth of your business because you can't give 100% all the time. It's the same thing. You know, a lot of people who are stay-at-home moms, or they feel like my cup is empty. I can't pour from an empty cup. Well, the same thing can be applied here. And in this industry or working as an entrepreneur is if you're not constantly feeding that side of you outside of the business, you're not going to grow. You're going to hit a ceiling and you're going to feel empty or that you're pouring and constantly giving and nothing's coming back. So I highly encourage people, like, even if the financial side of it is difficult for you, don't spend all your money that you don't have with coaching, but there are ways to utilize this and grow and learn and not spend a ton of money too. So I'd love to hear like favorite personal development or business development, like books or podcasts or other things that you recommend to people too.
There's so many.
I know.
To brand new agents, Ninja Selling and the 12-week year immediately, without a shadow of a doubt. I revisit Ninja Selling about once a year because it can apply to so many things. It is a real estate book, but it's not really about real estate.
Right.
It's about developing good relationships, maintaining them, and growing them. So hands down, that would be my number one. I will say Sell It Like Her Sirhan. If you've never read it, it is so ninja. It is so ninja,
It's
but
like
in a
ninja.
funny.
Bingo. Yes, exactly. I was going to say ninja, but with like a New York, I got to sell a $20 million condo twist.
Yes, that's it. Yes, my favorite. 100%.
Yeah, I keep it right here because it's one of those like you grab it and you're gonna.
Yes, and it's just a feel good, lighthearted, but yet every single thing he says leads back to ninja.
Yep.
But it's a different perspective. I love the Ninja podcast, and I'm not a spokesperson for Ninja by any stretch. You know, I think we need to pull the goodness out of every person. And I think Ninja does that
Mm-hmm.
splendidly. And, second to that would be, I'll say, Jason Pantana of the Tom Ferry team. He is genius. You got to slow him down. For those of us in the South, he talks way too fast. But his ideas, again, it all goes back to Ninja-esque, though.
Mhm.
Every single thing if you listen to something with that Ninja-esque, Simon Sinek, same thing.
Mhm.
It's like all the same premise. It's just in a different voice.
Right.
So those would be a few of that was actually a lot. The other one is, there's two actually. The Hero Effect.
Mm-hmm.
If you've never read it, I strongly encourage you to do so. It's a quick read. It is a magnificent feel good, but it will make you want to be a better person.
Mm.
And 320 Degrees.
Okay.
Ooh, I don't have that
So
one.
here's what I love about what I'm hearing you say.
Mhm.
And I want to point this out because a lot of people are going to be like, oh, yeah, let me write all those down. Let me get all that. That's all business personal development. But you've said it multiple times that this is about relationships and relationship building. Like, yes, the P&Ls, the profits, the contracts, like all of that stuff, especially for real estate side, that's going to come with time, right? And it's going to come with the people that are around you. But the true growth in your business is going to come from the relationships that you're building
Mm-hmm.
and the relationship skills that you are able to provide for the people that you're working with. And I think at the end of the day, that is the secret sauce. Like when people want to say, well, you're so successful. Like what are you doing that treat this business like a relationship? This isn't a transaction. And people are like, well, I do too. Okay. Well, that's when I'm like, let's back that up. Let's
Like,
let's
what are you
talk through
actually
that. Like
doing?
how are we really doing that? Because I truly think that's it. And people
Can I
think,
share,
yes,
Tyler, about our
please.
conversation yesterday a little bit?
Sure.
Here's the part about relationships that I think people need to extend themselves a little bit of grace. We all falter. I have a dear, dear, dear friend who I want to talk to her every 6 days, and right now it's about every 6 months. And I feel a little crappy about that.
Yeah.
And I'll reach out and say, I've been a crappy friend. And she says, you're good. I love you. It's okay. But we need to do that and feel okay to do that in our business life too.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, my nugget for every realtor out there in the planet is, come the beginning of September, rates are going to shake up a little bit. Be ready.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
If you haven't talked to people, pick up the phone and reach back out. It's okay. If you haven't talked to them in 2 years, say, I am ashamed. I am so sorry. I lost touch. I just wanted to reconnect.
Mm-hmm.
But don't be afraid to say, I have
I'm
faltered.
human. Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes. It's okay.
Mm-hmm.
And I would much rather somebody say that than somebody call me and place blame that I haven't reached out to them.
Correct.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So that's my biggest aha right now is go love on those that you know anywhere and everywhere, and be the person that reaches out. Because if I got a phone call right now from someone who I hadn't talked to, I'd probably be giddy,
Right.
you know?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what everything is about. And we also build relationships very, very differently.
Mm.
I am an extroverted introvert.
So am I.
I like to be very in my space.
Mm-hmm.
I got to get to know the room. I got to kind of feel it out a little bit. But I build relationships that way. My closest confidant is like extrovert all day, every day.
In your
And
face.
that works for her.
Yeah.
But own it and be okay with it.
Mm-hmm. I love that.
So, yeah.
My favorite piece from that too, whenever I first got to know you in the beginning, was whenever you kept telling us, like, what you focus on expands. And so
Ninja 101.
I
Mm-hmm.
spent 6 months just focusing on building relationships with people that I was already working with, but also trying to branch out and get to know their people, and then also get to know like their contractors. So that's how I get to know like home inspectors, plumbers, everybody. Because just so client calls you to sell their house, that realtor is now trusting whoever they partner with to go into that house to take care of all the needs, so that way the transaction moves smoothly. So I'm usually one of the first touch points. And so my number one question when I walk in. So, how do you know X? How long have you known this person? 9 times out of 10, I've known them because they help sell blah blah blah. They've worked with my father, they work with my mom,
Yep.
blah blah blah. And so
Yep.
I've always asked that question, and then it helps guide the rest of the conversations that we're in there with. Hardly ever do I walk in and go, I don't know, I just found them on Zillow, like they're a Zillow agent. I called them. That's not. I don't work with those kind of people. Uh,
Yes.
and I
And
have
you
a
know,
lot of realtors that I work with, and so
Yeah.
and
they're
I'm going to
all
give
repeats.
Tyler massive props. Massive. Talk about, and we talked about you yesterday. Just the amount of touch that you give to every single solitary client that you have and what you do for their we talked about it in class yesterday. Go stalk Tyler, look at how many connections he makes day in and day out. So you tag the realtor and then you tag whoever else was involved in it. Or if you think, hey Julie, I know we talked and you wanted a 3-2 ranch on a basement in Fayette on this many acres, hey, let me tag you in here. Talk about relationships. And look at what it's done for you. So it's that you make a cognitive effort to get to know everybody. You know what they're connected to. And then you make a point to think, oh, wait a minute, that might be something Julie would be interested in. Let me tag her in the comments.
Yep.
That's genius.
And I probably break
But
so many damn realtor rules, but I don't care. I'm not an agent.
You're not an agent, and
but
that's
you're not an agent and
right.
you can't.
You can.
We can.
Right.
And for that, we are
grateful.
Yes.
Exactly.
Again, though, it's about understanding that relationship.
Mm-hmm.
You understand what it is that realtors need. If I give you my home and I ask you to share it, you know exactly what I need when I ask you to do that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And that's because you and I built a relationship, and then you built a relationship with Peyton, and then you built it with this person. So you know, hey, they all kind of need the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
Let me do this for them. So
That's how I built it.
I'll pay for your service because I know the reach that you're going to make it to.
Mm-hmm.
Like this isn't
It's
just
huge.
yeah, it's not just you're paying for photography or really great, photography skills. Like it's the
The
extras.
network.
Yes, that you're paying to get access to. Honestly.
And it's huge.
Yeah.
Huge.
Yep. And, you leave your little signature things, like if you put the front exterior
Yeah.
photo on the TV or whatever. So if I'm looking at listing photos, I'm like, Tyler took those. Like,
Yep.
I always know.
Yep.
So then if I have questions or something and I'm like, hey, you've been in that house before.
I'll tell you a fun story
But
too.
again, see?
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
it's those little
it.
things. I'll tell you a fun story too. In the very beginning, my Q1 goal when we first started 12-week year, this is like 2021. And Julie's like, "Hey, we're about to do this." I had a goal doing 75 shoots every quarter to be able to pay the bare minimum of my bills. Just because like with my business, it's all invoiced. And so I have to figure out like I have to make this much every month. Because just like we talked about recently, Peyton, we wake up unemployed every single day.
Every day.
And so
Yes. Yeah, preach it.
Yeah.
yeah, declare that crap because if you don't, then you're going to let the business run you. And so
Right.
75 shoots across 3 months. So I was hoping to get 25 shoots a month to be able to pay bills. I'm now doing some weeks 25 shoots in a week.
Week.
In a week. Like I just had a month, I think it was like May or June, where I did 73 shoots in 1 month. And so Julie,
But when you said those goals to me, what was my response?
you can do more. And then I had 1 month where I had like 43 and she was like, you should call some people to see if you can get to 50. I was like, Julie, shut up.
Yeah. But those are the people you need in your life, right? Because you need the reminders.
Pushes.
Very much like what Julie was saying in the beginning, that Amy saw something in her that she didn't see in herself.
Bingo.
And you can be the most confident person in the world. But if you don't have people surrounding you that can be like, I really think you could do more.
Yep.
You're going to be stagnant. You're never going to grow or reach that full potential. So it's always like, okay, yes, maybe what 25 was your realistic goal. What's your push goal?
Exactly.
Like, reach a little bit higher. So that way when you do hit it, or even if you get a little bit closer,
You get giddy.
look what you did.
And then I did something funny the other day. I text Julie, said, Julie, I've already hit 400. It's July. I said, my next goal is 800 by December. And she said,
Why
okay.
not 1,000?
I
See,
did. I
that's the
did.
kind of
Actually,
crap Julie would say.
I actually did. I did.
So it's
I
like,
did.
you got to find those people. And I'll
Mm.
iterate again. I'm not an agent. I was invited into a group with a person, not as a broker. I knew
Yeah.
Julie as Julie, a
Mm-hmm.
coach. And so like taking her same lessons and applying it to my business, and I was able to 10x it versus like when she's got agents where she can look at them and go, "You sucked on this contract." Like that's a whole different perspective. And
Yes, it
so
is.
like you have to
Don't typically
really,
say it quite like that.
let's be real. It's okay if we say those
Look,
things though.
no contingencies.
What were you thinking? Exactly what were you thinking here?
There you
Mm,
go. There you go. But
that's
it's just
that's very
it's
nice of you.
it is legit. Like you've got to find people, and like Peyton said, you don't have to spend a ton of money. If you've got the budget, go get Tom Ferry kind of coaches. But you
Hmm.
can also take somebody to coffee and spend $2 and spend
Yeah.
an hour with
Yep.
them and learn an
Yep.
entire
Pick their
life
brain.
lesson with them.
Yes.
Yeah.
100%. And
Um,
that's what, for me, when I get to watch folks, like Tyler sends me those. I was in a meeting, in a sales meeting when he sent me that, and I read it aloud because that's what gets me going.
Hmm.
That's what it's like a mama, right? And when your kid accomplishes that thing that they never thought they could, and you just want to cry because you're just overjoyed, partly because, oh my God, look what we did. But second of all, you know what that does for them.
Hmm.
mm-hmm.
And when they hit things they never dreamed, Tyler Willis,
Mm-hmm.
it's that moment of, yeah, look at you.
Hmm.
As a broker, I want my folks all over the stage. That's what makes me happy. Not because, hey, oh, look, Julie's got a bunch of, no.
Hmm.
It's because each one of those people have a story about what they hoped that they would do.
Mm-hmm.
And they've just knocked it out of the park every single time.
Hmm.
And what works for one won't work for the person standing next to them. So we dig in and we figure out what's going to work. You know, I work with some people in insurance still, walking them through, because if you do relationships, it can be across any platform.
Hmm.
Doesn't matter what it is. You
Universal
did it in
language.
photography,
Yep.
we do it in real estate. I've got friends that do it in contracting businesses. But it's just who you know, and can you connect people, and can you lift them up to do better tomorrow than they did today?
Hmm.
Love it.
And if you can, you're gold.
Right.
And hopefully you can find some joy in watching people do that.
Mm.
And that's what fills me up every single day.
So
I love that.
Here's a good question then. So like let's just take the last like 5 years since you become broker.
Mm-hmm.
What's a moment that you're like most proud of in terms of like a coaching perspective of like a year one kind of agent to where they are today? Like what's one of those kind of stories? I
We've
know
had one of them on here.
Micah.
I love yeah.
He and I talk about every day, every other day, something like that. He's one that and he will say, his mother will say, I'm his work mother.
Oh, that's awesome.
It's just watching that. I have another young lady who is starting a team, but her goal was to make 50,000, and we've already exceeded that. I have another mom who came in part-time when she started with us. She's into her third year, and she's made more through June than she made the 2 years prior combined.
Wow.
She was able to take her family on a beach trip, and she paid for it.
That's awesome.
And as a parent, there's something super rewarding
Mm-hmm.
for being able to give that to your family.
Hmm.
You know, I have another group of individuals who all came to me part-time. And I know a lot of people have mixed emotions about part-time agents. I get it. It has to be the right fit.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
But there are three of them. They came in all part-time. They're in their second year, and they're about to, probably by July, maybe by the beginning of August, make more money than they ever have. And they've each gone on 3 cruises so far this year. Like, that's what it's about.
Absolutely.
It's those things. We are, you know, and sometimes it's not about money.
Right.
right? So it's about the ability to take time and go to that kid's recital or go see their mother in Florida for 2 weeks if they want to.
Mm-hmm.
And they need to make X amount of money so that they can live that lifestyle. So that's what we do. It's not about being a chart topper or winning awards. It's about I need flexibility and I need to feel like I'm doing something and contributing in some way, but I also want to go be a mom or a friend or a sister or a wife or just giving back to the community, like whatever you need to do. It's not always about making that top dollar.
Mm-hmm.
It's about finding what it is that you want. And I hate the proverbial why, because I think that's kind of cliche and overused. But truly, what is it that you want? And in a ninja way, if you could wave your magic wand and get anything that you want, what would it be?
Mm-hmm.
And then let's go backwards and figure out how to get there. And if it's a 5 year goal, then so be it. If it's a 5 minute goal, okay, good. But let's do it and figure out how to make that happen. And that is the magic aha moments for me. Some people were so stressed out and on an antidepressant. True story. I have an agent who was on an anti-anxiety, antidepressant, had been for about 4 years. We just restructured some things. They're using a transaction coordinator. They're not doing their photography anymore. They've almost doubled their business, not quite. But they can sleep at night and they're off their medicine. Like those are the things that make a difference.
Mm-hmm.
That's what makes a difference.
Mm-hmm.
That's good. I agree. Those are the little moments where, when I was in the classroom, I had those little wins every day, and so now I've just
Yeah.
transition it. Like whenever an agent that I work with wins, like I get to celebrate with them too. And so,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
like, you have to find those little wins. Otherwise, you're just gonna be. There's just moments where you're gonna be like, I don't know what I'm doing. And so, like, whenever you get to track the wins, that's whenever it's like, okay, I'm still winning.
Well, and Peyton, and to some extent, Tyler, but our business right now, and probably for the last 2 years, has been tough.
Mm-hmm.
It'll beat you up and eat you up,
Yeah,
Yeah.
right?
100%.
So, I get accused sometimes of being pie in the sky, which I don't consider myself at all. I'm pretty real and pretty straightforward. But you got to find the solution. You got to find the next step. You got to find the win somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
And it might be as simple as look at this text I got today.
Yep.
Y'all
Yep.
beat me up all day, but look, I got one text.
One
I'm going
win.
off that text.
Yep.
Yep.
One.
And I'm going
That's
to take
how
Go
we-
on with it. Right?
Bingo.
And I'm going to
Yes.
blow it up and put it on the back of my door. So when I close my door, that's what I see.
Yep.
You know?
Yes.
Yep.
Let's just figure it out.
I
And
love
it'll
that.
be okay.
Right.
It will be. And I've said this from day one, and Tyler, you've heard me. This is real estate, okay? This is not life or death.
Yep. The
Yep.
faster that some people learn that, ooh, Lord.
I delivered life insurance checks to people when someone did pass away.
Mm-hmm.
Or I delivered a check because your house just burned down with your pets in it, right?
Mhm. Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. This
It's
should
gonna be
fun.
okay.
Yes.
Mhm.
I'll
Right?
never forget whenever you first said that line of "This is real estate. If you're not having fun, what are you doing?" And I was like,
Yeah.
"This is fun. Like it has to be fun. Like if you're,
You have to be.
it's fun. Like
Because you're going to get that phone call. Hey, I was thinking, I know we're a day away from closing, but I was thinking maybe I don't want to buy this house after all.
Mm-hmm.
and how do you save that?
And you got to go, okay, I'm going to go laugh and then I'm going to come back.
Right.
Yep. Or
Right.
in
This is-
Peyton's
I'm being
situation, hey, I just bought $150,000 car like the day before closing.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Let me just go buy a $150,000 Porsche.
Because that was smart.
Yeah, right. And like, and you have to be able. I feel like this comes up every episode, but you have to be able to navigate that conversation, right? So like, 100%. This is America. You do what you want. Like, you want to go buy a Porsche. I love that for you. Also, consequences for actions. So now that means this. So
That was such a mom statement. I'm sorry.
yes, like the amount of times that I have to become a parent, and so many times stay-at-home moms. I was a stay-at-home mom for 7 years, so they think like, oh, I just don't feel fulfilled. Like I feel like I want to be doing something else, but sales scares me or real estate. I'm like, look, if you
Yes.
can successfully parent children, you can
Yes.
be a real estate agent. Like,
That's what I say. I got 4.
Yeah.
I can multitask.
Mm-hmm. That's right. And so it's truly like, and I'm talking to a mid-60s man. You absolutely have earned the right to do whatever you want with your money. That does not exclude you from the consequences of your actions. So now, here's
Yes.
what happens because we
Yes.
bought a Porsche today instead of next week. Like,
Yes.
so it's just, it is what it
And I
is.
just want to comment on the way you just worded that. You did not say but one time.
Mm.
Not one time. So kudos to you. That is something we talk about all the time. And kudos. You just did a marvelous job of navigating that conversation without ever using the word but.
I appreciate
It's
that.
good. It's really good.
No,
It's really
and
good.
that's the thing is like people are like, "Oh, do you do like you must do script practice all the time?" I'm like, "No, I'm just this is how I am. It's just literally who I am." Like, and I don't treat my business or my clients any differently than I would anyone else in my life. So if that means that they all become my children, then so be it.
And sometimes that's what everybody needs, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is that here are your guardrails. I'm here to keep you between them.
Mm-hmm.
You can do whatever you want to in between here, but once you step out of here, we're going to have to pull back in.
Mm-hmm.
But just stay in the lane. We're
Yep.
good.
Right. And my job is to keep you here. And I
Yeah.
need the
Yeah.
permission and we all need to be on the same page because we all want to reach closing, right?
Yes.
So it's these are our these are our limits. And if you step outside of that, we need to be okay that Peyton's gonna come and get you. Like I'm gonna pull you
Yeah.
back in and you're not
Yeah.
gonna like me,
That's right.
but I'm gonna do it.
Yeah. And at the end of the day, you'll turn around and thank me.
Correct. Yes.
Yeah.
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 Had a closing yesterday where it could not have been worse. Like this is a new construction and a senior community and it took 9+ months to build the house and it should have taken 5 or 6 and just literally everything that went wrong or that could have gone wrong went wrong during this process. And it never was really on my client or on me. It was really on the builder. But yesterday, she is not an emotional woman at all. Like she's a single lady, very independent, gonna get her shit done, like kind of person. And we finally got to closing and she goes, "Would you hate me if we drove back to the house so you could take my picture in front of the house?" And I was like, "Absolutely not. Like, let's go. Get in the car. We're driving back to the house." So we drove over there and we took her picture and she gave me the biggest hug. And she was like, "I never would have made it here without you." And I was like, "I'm so happy for you." Like,
And people say they don't need a realtor.
Correct, right?
Shame.
Especially in new construction. Yes, you do.
You certainly do. Yes.
So it's those types of moments because it is going to be hard. You are going to have times that it tests you and pushes you past the limits that you thought you had, and you are going to cry, cuss, say all the words. Like you're going to have those moments, right? But it's all for those successes is to be able to celebrate with somebody who just reached the finish line and they got their dream home for retirement and this is where they're going to live out their best days doing whatever the hell she wants because she earned it. And and it's just incredible to be in that situation. But if you're not mentally ready to handle the stresses and the objections and the things that come, it's going to be very difficult for you to feel successful at the end of a transaction because you're going to feel empty.
One, I think that's where a good coach comes in, truthfully, and keeps you focused on the important stuff and walks you through the moments when you do want to scream and yell and say profanities and what just came out of my mouth. I can't believe that, those kind of moments, and allow you that safe space to do that. And then what did we learn from this? What can we do better next time? And what did we do really, really great?
Yeah.
And this sounds like you walked through with someone who's super independent and gave her the freedom that maybe she never thought she was going to have.
Right.
And you just delivered that.
Yeah. She was like, "I hate taking my picture." And I was like, "No, we are doing it. I mean, you're going to take 5. I'm going to take 5 of them." Like, she's like,
and then we're going to post them as big as we possibly can.
Exactly.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. But yeah, absolutely. Like the coaching aspect of, I think honestly, what we should do, future note, let's I would love to have like a huge panel of people. Like, let's get as many people on here from as many different, like, it doesn't even have to be real estate. Like, let's just get as many people on, but have like that have really utilized coaching well, because I think that would ultimately show
Mhm.
you
Mhm.
across all lines
Mhm.
how
Mhm.
beneficial doing exactly what we're talking about is. You want to know what the secret
It's
sauce
a
is?
game changer in any field,
Mm-hmm.
anywhere. I don't care if you own a stationary company to a dog walker,
Mm-hmm.
right? Everything in between. Everybody needs a coach.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody. And it's not to say you're doing everything wrong, quite the contrary. It's to say, here's what we're doing great. This comes natural to you to do these things. Let's lean in and really maximize these. The ones that aren't, or the ones that bring you down, we got to figure out a way to knock them out
Mm-hmm.
and focus on the things that bring you joy and success, whatever that looks like. But think about it. So I'm an Alabama fan. Okay.
Oh,
Roll
boo.
Tide.
We,
Born and raised
we still love
Tuscaloosa.
you, but
But truly, think about Nick Saban.
mm-hmm.
And go
Mhm.
listen to anything. He's another one who I will go listen to podcasts and stuff, but go listen to him. And it's all about personal development. Sometimes it's physical, but 9 times out of 10, it's mental.
Mm-hmm.
And how do you overcome defeat? Because the reality is you're always going to be defeated. There's always going to be somebody better. And how do you overcome that and grow?
Mm-hmm.
And that is the game changer for everything, no matter what you are striving to do. Do you want to eat better? Okay. Do you have a coach, dietitian, friend, somebody holding you accountable?
Mm-hmm.
Right? What does that look like? Yeah,
Love it.
I love it.
And
me
seek them
too. I
out
want to be on
too.
that point.
100% seek them out, because in the beginning, I found the top photographer in my area. I started
You
peppering him
did.
with questions. And I said, "Brad, what are you doing?" And so
Mm-hmm.
he's become one of my best friends, like, over the last 8 years that I've been in this industry. And like, we honestly, we just first met, like, in person last year whenever I photographed. Yes, I did a
I
wedding.
saw
I
that. Yeah, yeah,
photographed a
yeah.
wedding, and that was my first time meeting him in person. So it can be somebody that you see, weekly, like, in person, or it could just be somebody that you've known, that you admire. Like, they could even be in a different state. And
Mm-hmm.
so that's the
So, and
beauty.
that's what I was going to say. That is a beauty of social media.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Go find somebody, and I always say, go follow the top dogs, and then look at who is
Yep.
following them, and then go seek them out. And before you know it, you'll have about 10 or 15 that kind of overlap. Reach out to those 10 or 15 and see what's their nugget. They might talk to you, they might not. In your own. And I love how you did. I had the joy of working for several different brokers in an associate capacity. I learned what I loved. I learned what maybe wouldn't fit me very well, and what made things move, what moved the needle. Each of us do that.
Mm-hmm.
So go figure it out. Stalk people. We can do that.
And
What
not be
works? What
feeling weird
doesn't?
about it either.
Look, I mean,
It
yeah,
happens.
you might feel weird, but who cares?
Right. It is what it is. Like, it just,
Yeah.
people who have any kind of following, if
Mm-hmm.
they're truly a good leader and they're truly somebody who you should be seeking out, they're not going to ignore you forever. Like, it
Mm-hmm.
might be that they missed your message the first time because chaos and they're human.
Life works. Yeah, life
Right.
happens.
But like, it's just as fulfilling for them to stop what they're doing and pour back into you than to ignore you. And if you
Mm-hmm.
feel like you've just fallen in the ignore category, then my advice would be move on to the next person.
And look, sometimes people want to see, are you going to be diligent? Are you going to reach out more than once?
Hmm.
Because
How
that's
bad
a
do you
test.
really want this? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Yeah. And I think, and again, so I've shared this a million and one times, but I have a journal, looks very similar to this. Every day I write down one thing that I did really, really well, and one thing that maybe I'm not so proud of, or that was an epic failure. But how can we be better tomorrow? What can I learn from that? And to reference it a year out, I strongly encourage everybody to do it. You'll be amazed, and it's the biggest self development. You don't have to share it with anybody unless you want to. Your coach probably would love to see it. But look and be able to internalize, you know what, yesterday I did an amazing job talking so and so off a ledge.
Mm.
How did I do that? I also hurt my child's feelings because I said this.
Mm-hmm.
What can I do better?
Mm.
Every day. And once you do it for about 5 or 6 years, it is like a huge wow moment.
I bet that's really powerful to like have that
Look back
many
on.
years of that to be able to look back on.
Yeah, I mean, these are the El Cheapies, right? So these are the, like, go to the dollar store, load up, especially right now,
Right
school
now.
time out 50
Mm-hmm.
cents. Go buy a bucket of them and label them. Mine, I keep little, if there's a aha, you can see the little red tabs, something that maybe I want to reference back. Sometimes I take notes and I'll like clip them in there like that. Just, it's really beneficial because you can watch your own growth. And is there a trend of where I continue to fail in this arena? So whatever I'm doing isn't working. So maybe a coach would be super helpful in this arena because I'm trying and I'm not succeeding on my own. How can I gain some leverage there?
Mm-hmm.
I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, I could literally keep talking to you all day, and sometimes I do. But on Peyton, do you have like any closing thoughts, questions for Julie before we wrap it up?
I guess maybe just if there's anything you want to share about like how this has like personally impacted you and like how you see using these types of skills in the future as a
Sure.
benefit. Anything you want to share
Sure.
about that?
I think I mentioned before, I find joy in truly watching someone that I've worked with grow. And I mean that. And, you know, Tyler could probably attest to that more than most. It's not just something I'm saying. That's where I'd find my
Mm-hmm.
oomph to get up and do it again the next day. For myself, I left a career that I had intended to do for my entire life. And I took a leap of faith, and 21 days later, I had a real estate license. And about 4 years to the day from that day, I had a full time position that did not exist. They made the position for me to onboard and get agents up and going. And about 2 years after that, I'm a broker. And all I can say is find you somebody who will put things in front of you that you never dreamed of and you never thought possible. And get there
Mm-hmm.
because it works. And I never in my wildest dreams would have thought I would be sitting here. Never.
Mm.
And I want the opportunity for somebody else to do that.
I love it. There's like a good, like I'm gonna butcher it, but there's like a Denzel Washington quote. I could listen to him all day. Like he has one where it's like, it doesn't matter if you walk, if you run, if you crawl, just get to the finish line.
Yeah.
And so like whatever that finish line looks for you, you got to get there. And so I love that. I love
Yep.
that. So we got Julie 1.0. She was insurance. Julie 2.0. She's now real estate. Is there like a possibility of Julie 3.0 with like personal coaching?
Never say never.
Ooh,
And if I
never
could
say.
wave a magic wand, that would probably be my dream.
Ah,
Because that's what brings me the most joy.
I love
Truly and sincerely.
it. Mm,
That's what brings me joy.
I love it. I love it.
So
I
yeah,
love it. I love it. Never say never. So
never.
maybe one day, Julie will be able to put out there on like an email address, and you could use Julie as a personal coach. We just never know. You never know.
You never
You
know.
never know,
I
right?
love it. I love it. I love it. Well, Julie, thank you so much for your
Thank you
time.
guys. This has been a blast.
This is
Truly
so
a blast.
glad.
yep. Welcome to no contingencies.
Yeah.
And-
We just we just do it.
so,
That's right. That's right.
well, thank you so much. And it's been about an hour. I hope people like. If there's one piece of like a nugget on this one. What you focus on expands is the nugget
Amen.
that you should take away from this, because in the
And
beginning,
focus on relationships first.
bingo, bingo.
Yep.
Your number one focus in the beginning of building any business, relationships, and then focus on
Relationships.
goals. So
And go buy Ninja Selling in 12-week year. There, done.
Done.
And we need a sponsorship. Ninja Selling, if you're looking,
Yeah.
we will
That's
sponsor you
right,
greatly.
or 12-week year, either
Either
one.
one.
We'll
12
take
week year,
either
either
one.
one of y'all. We will gladly. Anyways, but Julie, thank you again. This is
Thank you, guys.
episode, oh my goodness, it's going to be like
31.
episode 31, baby. Episode 31 in the books.
My age, my goodness, y'all.
That's right. That's right. That's right. Episode 31, How Coaching Fuels Your Business Growth with Julie. Thank you so much again. Guys, stay
Thank you.
tuned. We every Tuesday, new episode, new content. Check socials, check your podcast platforms. And you can always just find us on our Facebook page or Instagram, the Home Tour Podcast. All right, guys. Y'all have a fantastic rest of your day. Have a good one.
Thank you.
See ya.